So, welcome to Policy and Profit, the podcast for ambitious insurance agents and agency owners who want to build predictable, profitable businesses without chasing bad leads or begging for referrals. Before we dive in, here's a stat that should punch you in the gut. The average insurance agent makes less than $60,000 a year, and 92% quit in their first year alone. Meanwhile, the top 10%, they're pocketing $200,000 to $500,000 in commission selling the same exact policies. So what's the difference? It's not luck, it's leverage. Top producers aren't chasing leads or praying for referrals. They're using a system, one I call booked and banked, to consistently generate qualified leads, book appointments, and close policies like clockwork. It combines automation, psychology-based sales frameworks, and high leverage follow-up, and it helps agents add 5K to 15K in predictable monthly commissions within 90 days. So if you're done playing the guessing game, go to writemorepolicies.com and grab the free blueprint. So today's guest is Annika Arvayo. Did I say Annika right? Is it Annika or Annika?
It's Annika.
Annika, okay, well, we have Annika Arvayo, and she is from Tucson, Arizona. She has studied at Arizona University. What was your major, by the way?
Business entrepreneurship.
Okay, we got
Yeah.
a fellow business person on our heads. This is fantastic. So she just got into the insurance world. She hasn't been corrupted like I have by the industry yet, and she just recently started her work with a new Allstate agency. So Annika, welcome to the show. What I want to ask you is tell me something you believe is the key to succeeding in insurance sales that most agents completely overlook.
I would say kind of putting ourselves so far from what I've learned is really putting yourself in their situation and in their shoes, if you will. Um, learning, I think it gets so repetitive sometimes and it's just get the quote, sell that policy, sell that coverage. But when I've observed, the top salespeople within my agency, they really tailor those policies to that individual. And really, it's like a teamwork. Like, hey, let's get this policy together. Let's get this quote. Let's figure out the coverage that you need together. Like we're on the team together. So, um, from what I've observed to successful, um, salespeople to a little below successful, it's that key of, really tailoring, sorry,
No
really
worries.
tailoring that policy to them and just, working as a team and putting themselves in their shoes.
So really taking the time to understand your customer's needs and customizing a solution to their specific problem rather than just, here's a policy I give everybody, Annika, just take it and sign the
Yes,
damn thing.
exactly.
And so something, I don't know if you've saw this yet, have you ever experienced like unfortunately agents get a bad rap, and I'm not sure if you've saw an agent do this yet because commissions can be tempting sometimes to just put the high selling thing or the most expensive policy in front of the customers. Why do you not do that?
I don't do it because if they don't need it, then I'm not going to offer it. I don't want my clients to be overinsured and I don't want them to be underinsured. I want, again, to tailor that policy to their needs, to their situation, to their financial being, to assets. And if they don't need more, then I'm not going to offer more. And if they don't need less, then I'm not going to tell them to have less.
That's a very expert level answer. You navigated that really well, so congrats on that. Uh, Now, a while ago, you were talking about the successful agents do X, they customize and tailor policies to the specific needs of the customer. What exactly are the unsuccessful ones doing that you've noticed? Where are they messing up at in your eyes?
I think it is just like that repetitive, here's standard policy, here's your price, and it's again, it's not that like teamwork, hey, let's figure this out together. Um, it really is just here's your quote, yes or no, next, and it's very transactional and not relational. So that's what I've observed.
And where does it, that seems like it kind of rubs you wrong, just the way your facial expression when you talk about it. Like, what's that all about? Can you tell me?
It doesn't rub me the wrong way because don't get me wrong, I think a lot of people, especially when you're calling for a quote, they don't want it to be um relational. It's give me the quote, give me the price, I'll say yes or no, right? And I'm gonna go shop around and do that for everyone. So I also get that, but I think there's so much more to insurance with that. And I fully believe that, when you're giving me a call, it's not how much am I paying you? It's how much am I covered for, right? And it really is, I think, deeper than just a policy, than just paying your premium. Ultimately we're helping these people during some of the most hardest times of their life, whether it's, a house claim, an auto claim, an accident, a lawsuit, whatever it is, they're going to be calling us up. And so for me, it is important that it is relational, um, and that they feel, valued, seen, and prioritized by their insurance agent.
So I've been in insurance for 5 years now. I mean, I broke all the sales records at my own company, and something I noticed about the customers is I don't know, we've gotten ourselves such a bad rap that people just want to hurry up and get off the phone, but also
Right.
customers, when they kind of feel in control of the buying process, meaning just give me a quote. Have you noticed about customers that they tend to get 20 quotes and just stuff them in a drawer and forget about them and they never do anything with them? And so they're
Absolutely.
very
Yes.
indecisive. And so I'm really glad that you're kind of speaking on this, and it kind of ties into what you're passionate about, because unfortunately it is our job to have tough conversations with these people and let them know, like, hey, I'm just going to treat you like a family member right
Yeah.
now. So what happens when you die? What happens when you get in a car crash and you've got
Right.
20 quotes and nothing in place? Because here's what your family's coming to me with when you're in a coma, when you're missing a leg, because it looks like a final. Have you ever watched a Final Destination movie? My
Um,
mom watches those and she still will not get on a plane because she watched Final Destination. I'm like, well, that's made up, okay? It's not gonna
mhm.
happen. It's not gonna happen to you. You're not gonna get sucked out of the plane. But unfortunately, stuff like that does happen in cars every single day. And so we hear about car wrecks all the time and assume it can only happen to other people until it happens to you. And so, unfortunately, Annika, like, I don't know if you've had this experience yet, but when someone passes away, like on the life insurance side for me, their families weren't coming to me saying, hey, so what about that quote? So, no, where's their policy? Oh, you
Right.
didn't give them a policy. Why did you only give them a quote? How dare you not do your job, Mason? I don't know if you've had that experience yet, but like they were almost mad at me for not helping them make an educated decision on getting a policy. And I'm under the opinion that better educated customers make better purchasing decisions. So, what's the better information that they kind of need? I know you like educating your soon-to-be customers. So, like if they were watching this right now, what would you tell them in layman terms, or like what do they need to understand that other agents aren't kind of breaking down?
I think they need to understand that, you know, um, by law, you're required to have insurance on, whether your auto or just other assets that you have. Um, it's not just the government or, saying, hey, we're all, sucks to suck. You're gonna have to pay this premium every year, every month, just because we say so. Like there's a reason, and I always say, by law, you can still murder, and you also by law need insurance. Like there's a very important reason why that's in place, and people don't know about it. They are not aware of the exposures of what happens in a situation when you get in a car wreck, when you get a lawsuit against you that you're liable for, or when something happens to your home, so it's just important for me that people know of these exposures, of these perils, and what happens within that. And just the whole reason why. If they can't answer the reason of why do you have insurance, then get on the phone call with your agent ASAP and tell them to tell you why, because it is very important that you have insurance and that you value the insurance that you're paying for, and that you know exactly what you're paying for.
Don't even get on a call with an agent. Get on a call with Annika. She'll be your
Yeah.
agent.
Yeah,
So
I don't even care if you're my agency. I'll let you know. I'll educate you.
it's funny you mentioned that. My wife has just moved in, and a couple of years ago she got in a car wreck, and Florida's like a no-fault state. And so just a couple months ago, so this is 2 years later after the wreck. All the stuff was already done. This girl launched a $50,000 lawsuit for damages and all that stuff. And it's like, what in the world? Now, luckily, she had signed something during the first wreck that had waived responsibility, and the insurance company just wrote another check for 10 grand saying, hey, this is done. Don't come back with another lawsuit. We've already taken care of you.
Right.
But it's the fact most people might not be that lucky with the insurance they have. Only because she had the right policy was she afforded legal protections. Because how many people, Annika, let me know if you've noticed this. How expensive was a bag of chips when you were a child? Do you remember?
99 cents.
How expensive are they
And
now?
they're like 3.69.
They're
They're
$5
five,
over
yeah,
here
it's
for a small
$7.
bag of Cheetos.
Yep.
They're $5 for a bag of Cheetos. And think if your kids all want a bag, that's 20 bucks every single week on just Cheetos. Now, gas, milk, eggs, cookies, bacon, all the junk food has gotten more like it's tripled in price. Virgin olive oil, I got it for $6 a couple months ago. It's 18 now at Walmart.
Mhm.
Do you think people have $50,000 just sitting around for an accident?
No, they don't. And I always tell them that. I always say, you guys are complaining about the prices of eggs. Imagine the price to replace a car, to fix and repair a car. It's
Replace a car? How about replacing a leg?
right. Yeah.
To talk about real Final Destination stuff. So why do you think all these people just walk around with like, well, I've got state minimum, I've got full coverage. Can you kind of break that down? If someone has full coverage, what should they go look at their policy right now for? Because I bet it's
Um,
just state minimums.
right. Yeah, no, everyone says I have full coverage. Okay, what are your bodily injury limits? No responses, they don't know. And that's like a huge thing where it's like, yes, you can by book have full coverage, but do you have 2550 or do you have 100 300? That's a huge difference. And a car wreck, that's gonna how you are like financially after that car wreck is gonna be dictated by those limits that you have on your policy right now. Um, so, and a lot of people think, just additional coverages, maybe like whether it be like a transportation expense, special effects, even glass coverage. A lot of, policies don't necessarily use glass coverage in their full coverage definition. So yeah, I mean, I would say number one are what limits do you have? Because there's obviously a cap to all policies, and the coverage, and then to just also see what your policy entails and what additional coverages you're missing out on.
And where do most customers go wrong in choosing a policy? Do you think they just like, I gotta call the insurance guy. Let me just hurry up and get a quote and get off the phone as soon as possible because I don't care about this. Well, listen, I don't really care about insurance either, but the fact that if something happens to me, if I didn't have insurance, luckily, or I guess I'm worth more dead than alive, unfortunately. I have too much insurance. I guess that's a good problem. So my wife and dogs are set if God forbid something happens to me, but most people, they just want to rush off the phone. So
Right.
why is that a huge mistake? Why should they really take some time to consider like, hey, this isn't about you. This is about the people who are going to be impacted in the event of your untimely death. If you get in a car crash, you get in a coma, and you can't take care of yourself, surgery have you in bed for 8 to 12 months not working. What are you going to do without income? So why is it
Right.
so crucial they get the right policy for them? And what does the right policy look like for them? Can you answer that?
Well, it's tailored to, like I said, their life, their circumstances, their families, their occupation, their assets. But it's, when you're talking about with the consumer, what's kind of like the issue, it's that mentality that all that matters is price. And unfortunately, that's just, I want to say how 90% of people function, and I get it too. Like I said, I'm a consumer. Nobody wants to be paying for this. Nobody wants to be paying high premium. But I think so many consumers are so concerned just about price, right? Just about price. That's my only factor that I care about. But it's because there's a lack of education. Because then when I tell them, okay, well, yeah, I can definitely get you a policy for 15,000 in property damage, but when you go total a 2025 Tesla that's worth 70,000,
What
you're
clunker
out
are
of
you going to
you're
buy? Yeah.
right. You know what I'm saying? That's 50,000, over 50,000, whatever it may be, that you're paying out of pocket. You have that right now, right? You have that in your checkings and your savings? No? Okay, so you're going to refinance your home, right? You're going to drain your 401k, and and people don't even know that. People don't even realize that. So until you have that education, then it's like, oh, okay, wow, yeah, maybe I should have 100,000 in property damage on my policy. Um, so yeah, I think that's like the getting lost in translation where people aren't aware, are not educated. So there is just this mentality of just the price,
Well,
it's just a
unfortunately,
policy.
let me know if you're wrong. My experience, when I see my cousins coming home with their math homework and it's 14 times 21 and they have to do it in the stupidest way possible, not like I learned when I went to school. They have the craziest homework and it's like, this isn't even algebra. This is just nonsense. And so I think it's because not we're uneducated, but we've been miseducated and misled from the government indoctrination systems. Did I say that out loud? The school systems, the child indoctrination camps, and unfortunately, we're taught to value money and use people. And it's unfortunate what's going on in the world today. Let me know if you think I'm wrong, but we're taught so much about price and never about the cost of doing something. And so we make stupid decisions like, hey, I know you watching you skimped and you bought that cheap thing one time and it went bad and you wasted your money. And so yeah, that $20 pair of shoes that you wore twice and then threw out, sure they were only 20 bucks, but the cost was $10 per wear. And so when
Right.
you start breaking things down like that, you're like, should I pay $60,000 for this totaled Tesla, come out of pocket 60 grand, or should I just say, Annika, just run the card for 80 bucks a month and I'll make the policy payments? Which
Right.
one do you want to pay, 60 grand or 80 bucks a month? It
Right.
makes no sense, but
Yeah, and it's day to day, and everybody, that's what I say. Everybody's gonna be shopping around for insurance. Everybody needs auto, home, life insurance. So, um, it's just that difference of price versus value. And I'm just a strong believer that with insurance, there's value. With an insurance policy, there's a ton of value, and people are not aware of it. So that's why they're focused on price, and that's why price is all that matters. But that's huge, two huge difference, price and
yeah,
value.
so if you guys have a full cover,
Oh
if
no,
you have a full coverage
I know. I don't
policy,
even like to
go
say full
check it
coverage.
right now, please, and then give Annika a call. So go do that immediately after this because if you get in a wreck while listening to this or something, just go give Annika a call and she'll help you out. So this has been really valuable for the agents, agency owners, or even customers listening who want to learn more about what you do, Annika. Tell us kind of who's a good fit to work with you and how they can get in touch.
Um, so I'm licensed in Arizona. So anybody who is an Arizona resident or has Arizona property, um, that's who would be a good like a good person to get in touch with me. I'm also a Spanish speaking agent. So if you're, in the Latino community, if you have a parent or grandparents who are only Spanish speaking, I love working with people within the Hispanic community. And yeah, just call me. Just send me an email. Annika Arvayo at allstate.com. Send me an email. Just forward me your policy. Let me see what I can offer you. Let's get on a phone call. Um, I'm very easy to reach and I'm welcome everyone, even if you're not going to buy from me, but you just, again, want a policy review and say, hey, Annika, what do you think of this policy? I'll straight up tell you, I'm not going to sell you something that I wouldn't purchase myself. And like I said, I'm not going to try to overinsure you or underinsure you.
You're going to get just enough. It's the appropriate level. So we're going to wrap up here. Thanks so much, Annika, for sharing your insights on all things insurance and policy and profits. For those of you interested learning more about policy and profits, or if you'd like to be a guest, we're looking for successful and loving agents and agency owners who are doing at least 10K a month in commissions and have unique strategies to share. You can apply at policyandprofit.com or writemorepolicies.com. And one more time, if you want to stop chasing leads and start booking qualified appointments with people who actually want to get insurance, grab our free booked and banked blueprint at writemorepolicies.com. Until next time, keep building that commission machine.